everyone, we are Civic Nebraska, and we want to say thank you to the UNL Senior Design Team for selecting our proposal as one of the projects that y'all will be working on through the next academic year. So my name is Sarah Walker, and I'm the Director of Development, and I just want to share a little overview about who Civic Nebraska is, and we are going to provide an overview of what this project is going to look like. Civic Nebraska's mission is simple. It's to create a more modern and robust democracy for all Nebraskans. And the way we achieve that mission is through our 3 program areas: youth civic leadership, our civic health work, and our voting rights protection, election protection work. So to share a little bit more information of what our proposal detailed, what we would like you to do this year, and to learn about our voting rights work broadly, I have John and Brad with me today. So if y'all will just introduce yourself real quick, and then we will talk about the proposal at hand. So John?
Hi everyone, my name is John Cartier. I'm the Director of Voting Rights here at Civic Nebraska. I've been in this position since 2014, and a lot of my work is protecting access to the ballot box, and around election time I'm responsible for coordinating the state's largest nonpartisan election protection program, which is going to be the subject of this project, and really excited to let you know a little bit more about it and how you can help us out.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad Christian-Sallis. I'm our Voting Rights Field Director. Spend a lot of my time keeping John out of trouble and helping protect our elections in a lot of different ways. So help a lot with our election protection program, making sure our volunteers are turning out, know where they're supposed to go, how they go about performing their duties on election day, and just really what it looks like, what people's voting rights are, and how they can play a role in protecting them.
Cool, thank you both. This team is actually quite a few more people, but these are the 2 leaders that get this election protection program retrained and on the road every single year for every election we have in Nebraska. So the core of this proposal that y'all will be helping us with this year is, with the heightened scrutiny of elections in the United States, it's imperative that Civic Nebraska does our part to make elections free, accessible, and modern, and emphasis on accessible for all voters. This is why we're excited to partner with a team of UNL seniors to create a mobile app that efficiently and effectively documents accessibility and also any voting rights issues that might happen on election days. So I've prepared a few questions for John and Brad just to detail what this project's all about and what we will need from you. So my first one's for John, our director of the program. Can you tell me when this program started and why you think there is a need for a program like this in Nebraska or even across the country?
Absolutely. So this program started in Nebraska while this organization was actually known as Nebraskans for Civic Reform in 2012. That was the first time we trained and got volunteers out to go to polling places and record information such as wait times, the use of provisional ballots, whether people are being asked to present a voter ID or not, things of that nature. And since then, the program has continuously grown every single election cycle to the point where we deploy around 200 volunteers, such as in this last election, and they collect information from hundreds of polling places. And this information is vital for informing us what we need to do to improve as a state while we conduct our elections. And we're also a partnership with the election workers in the state and county level. They look to us in a lot of ways to help them out and identify some of the weak areas in the state that they need to either retrain poll workers or deploy more resources, or to make sure people just are aware of what is the right way to do things.
Thank you for that overview. Brad, you're one of the people who actually train our volunteers. You do this every year, retraining and recruiting new folks to do this. This program aims to do 2 things: to assist voters on election day, and then to also report any problems when they arise. Could you give us a few examples of what some of these problems might look like and what you've seen?
Yeah, so there's definitely a wide range of problems. Sometimes it's just simple stuff like a voter is at the wrong polling place and they need help navigating to the correct one. And that's a really important thing, because we know if somebody goes to another polling place and it's additionally the wrong polling place on top of the first one, they're probably not going to go to a third. So having people out there to handle issues like that and to assist voters in that way. But then there's also just different accessibility issues. A lot of times they're just common mistakes. People aren't really thinking through, like, how can I be able to navigate this space if I was in a wheelchair? So we have our election observers out to make sure that if there is a voter who's going to need that accessibility, that the polling place is set up right for them. It's a lot of small things like that, but they really add up and they can make a huge difference in whether somebody's able to cast their vote.
That's awesome. Thank you for those details. And then John, this last question's for you. You said that we had over 200 election observers last election cycle, which is tremendous, especially for the weird year we had. So we use this information, we collect a lot of information, we analyze it, and we share data to our partners about election protocols for general improvement across the state. Can you talk about how this process looks and how it has looked, and then what it would mean if we modernized and streamlined this via a mobile app?
Absolutely. So as the process stands right now, every observer will be assigned to a polling place. They'll go to a polling place and they have a couple of paper sheets where they'll fill out information. The first one is American with Disabilities Act sheet that goes and details whether polling places are accessible for those who have disabilities as is required by the law. And then they have two other sheets that intake information detailing specific things about the polling place, so the layout of what it looks like, what the wait times are looking like, if people are using a lot of provisional ballots there. And then there's another sheet that will document specific issues a voter might run into. So maybe a voter is reporting an instance of electioneering, or perhaps they were asked by somebody to present a photographic ID, which is currently against state law. That's something that each individual sheet would then detail around that specific voter or instance or issue. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of paper sheets we deal with. In my office right now, all the way back from 2012, there's just binders and binders of papers. And you know, typically we'll try to digest a lot of information at the end of the cycle, but it's difficult. And if we can figure out a way to put that more streamlined somewhere where people can access, like a statewide map of what polling places look like and bring up information that's tied to each location, that's just going to be a better tool for us moving forward and for documenting historically what our elections look like in different areas, and just a better way of preserving all the really important work that our volunteers do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you both for this overview.
Okay, so a quick overview of a 10,000 foot overview of the app so far, what we're thinking about. We envision a login page, whether it's on a browser or maybe iOS app, and it would take you to the first page being a whole map of Nebraska, and it would populate with different areas you can click for different polling locations. It might be a little tricky in Omaha and Lincoln, which is such a huge concentrated cluster of polling places, but for the rest of the state, it would be fairly easy to list it out. Maybe have a login button somewhere up here for people who are authorized to access the app and make edits or submit information. Don't necessarily want it open to the general public. And for those interactive little data points, if people could click it, then it could bring them to maybe a survey of what the polling place looks like, has its different specs, and the information detailing wait times, or maybe if there's prior issues at that polling place, detailing issues with accessibility or some other things. And just a little example, this is the type of information on the sheets that poll observers are expected to collect. You see here that information that's tied to more generally polling places, and some information back here such as the provisional ballot, language barriers. A really important one is times a voter might have came to a wrong location. That's usually a really important data point for us. And then typically we'll have our observers sketch out a polling place, so if there's also a way to keep those sketches and have them follow whatever data points we're tracking. This is some more information, the 88 polling place surveys here. This is another example of just some more information our observers collect. And then if we could have another section on the app that would detail some of our voter resources and FAQs. We have some examples of what that looks like, especially our election protection hotline number, how people can get connected with their absentee ballot, how people can find their correct polling place. If we can keep a lot of these important information on that app somewhere, that would also be a huge benefit. And that's really basically it. It's, in summary, a really easy way that we can bring up a map of all the polling places. Observers can log into it and then input the data that they collect during the course of their normal duties. Thank you so much for choosing us. We're really looking forward to working with you.
Yes, thank you so much. This project is going to be so exciting. We're excited to see how you can help us build a modern and robust democracy. Let's go.
It's going to blow minds.